Hello and welcome to the vodcast about the acid-metal reaction, how to complete the word and chemical equations. Okay, so the rule for acid-metal reactions are acid plus metal gives us a salt plus hydrogen gas. Let's discuss acids first. There are 4 general acids you should know: hydrochloric, nitric, sulfuric, and phosphoric. The formula for hydrochloric acid is HCl. When it's dissolved in water, it separates into hydrogen and chloride ions. Therefore, the salt made is going to be a chloride salt. Nitric acid is HNO3. When in water, it breaks down into hydrogen ions and nitrate ions. Therefore, the salt made is going to be a nitrate. Sulfuric acid is H2SO4. When dissolved in water, it separates into 2 hydrogen ions and a sulfate ion. Therefore, the salt made is going to be a sulfate. And phosphoric acid is H3PO4, and when it dissolves in water, it's going to turn into 3 hydrogen ions and a phosphate ion. And therefore, the salt made is going to be a phosphate. Now, for the steps for working out the word equation and the chemical equation is to write out the first half reactants, which are the things that are going to react before the arrow. So we write them out in words. Then we draw an arrow to represent the reaction taking place. Then we're going to write the products in word form. And the salt made is going to be the cation from the metal and the anion from the acid. And the other product is hydrogen gas. So that becomes the word equation. Then we're going to write out the symbols for the reactants, for the chemical equation. We're going to write out the acid and put AQ after it. AQ means dissolved in water. And then we put in the metal and put in brackets S, which means solid. So we're putting a solid piece of metal into an aqueous solution of acid. Then we're going to do the arrow and we're going to write out the symbol for the products. The salt, again, is the cation from the metal and the anion from the acid. And then we write H2 for hydrogen gas. To balance the equation, we can only change the numbers in front, and the number in front is called the coefficient. The test for hydrogen gas is the POP test. Okay, so now let's look at an example. What would be the products made when sodium metal is placed in sulfuric acid? So first of all, we think of the rule, which is acid plus metal gives us salt plus hydrogen gas. And from here we write the word equation. Sulfuric acid plus sodium metal with an arrow gives us sodium sulfate and hydrogen gas. Sodium sulfate is the salt. We're using the cation from the metal, which is sodium, and the anion from the acid, which is sulfate. So it gives us sodium sulfate. Then we have to do the chemical equation. Sulfuric acid is H2SO4, and we put AQ after it to remind us that it is aqueous or dissolved in water, plus Na, and we put in brackets S, which is a solid. Then we put the arrow to show that a reaction takes place. And the equation for sodium sulfate is Na2SO4. The reason it's Na2SO4 is sodium is +1 and sulfate is 2-. Therefore, we're going to need 2 sodiums for every 1 sulfate. And hydrogen gas is just H2. And we put in brackets after it G for gas. To balance the equation, we can only change the coefficients in front of either the reactants or the products. And in this case, the reactants have only 1 sodium, but the products have 2 sodiums. So all we need to do is increase the number of sodiums in the reactants, and we do that by putting a 2 in front. And so now we have 2 sodiums in the reactants and 2 sodiums in the products, and now it's balanced. Thank you for paying attention. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it informative. Like and subscribe if you like, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.